Ladies and gentlemen, the transfer market just keeps on heating up. We got more news today. A lot of news pouring through, actually. You know, this is the kind of thing you expect, though, during the transfer window, is that you're going to get news on a daily basis and even surprise news. You kind of have to expect the unexpected, and we're going to break it down. We've got a couple topics. We just went live Monday, but we're back again. We might go live again this week if other stuff happens, but I expect a lot of these live streams to happen during this week. But before we get into it, you guys can see on the screen is already. Make sure you guys like this stream down below if you haven't already. We have 53 people in the chat already. I expect it to grow. We do this for free for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff. So make sure you guys like it down below. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are 480 subscribers away from 12,000, and our goal is to hit that number by the end of this year. We got 2 weeks from today to hit that number, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. And the chat is going crazy. We'll get to the chat here in a second, but we had some breaking news tonight. This is a big deal. Dayne St. Clair, the former Minnesota United goalkeeper, has signed with Inter Miami. Now, Dayne St. Clair, for those of you who don't know him or are not familiar with him, is Canada's #1 goalkeeper. He took that position, I want to say this year, maybe late last year, but he's Canada's #1. He's going to be starting for them at the World Cup in 2026, barring some unforeseen situation, but he's going to be starting goalkeeper for Canada in 2026. And he's only 28 years old. He was a free agent, which I know maybe to some of you who don't follow American sports, free agent sounds kind of weird. You know, you hear free, just consider it a free transfer, okay? He left Minnesota United on a free transfer, and he's signing with the defending champs, Inter Miami. And my God, what a signing this is. This is a crazy signing. This guy just won goalkeeper of the year in MLS. He was very, very important to Minnesota United's success in 2025, and he was my goalkeeper of the year. If I had a vote, that's who I would have voted for. It's when I did my yearly list of award winners in Major League Soccer, I had him as my goalkeeper of the year. He's incredible. He's only 28 years old. He'll be 29 this year, but this is what you would want. When you win MLS Cup, a lot of times it's hard to keep the roster as good. It's very hard to make it better, but it looks like Inter Miami might be making their team even better than 2025, which is hard to believe. And Guido Herrera, we'll talk about him in a second, because that was another goalkeeper that they were rumored to be signing. And I actually want to pull that up in a second, too, to talk about that. But Dayne St. Clair, I mean, this guy is a seasoned vet in Major League Soccer. You know, and goalkeepers have historically been one of the best positions MLS has produced. You know, there's always people that make fun of the attack, at least historically, because a lot of the domestic players weren't good in the attack in MLS. Like, they couldn't finish. Most of the best attackers are foreign. The defense in MLS has been really bad. But one thing that they have been able to produce domestically in Major League Soccer throughout the entire existence of the league is quality goalkeepers. Dayne St. Clair is a quality goalkeeper, guys. He's a quality goalkeeper. And also, too, he had probably had interest in Europe as well, because he is a little bit, I mean, I don't want to say he's young, right? He's 28 years old. But if you look at it from a goalkeeping age, he is young. I mean, goalkeepers can play until their late 30s, maybe even early 40s. That for early 40s is a rare circumstance, but at least like late 30s, that's very common. So Dayne St. Clair's pretty, in his prime for a goalkeeper. Maybe we still haven't even seen the best of him, which sounds funny because he just won goalkeeper of the year. So you're probably thinking, well, how can he get any better? Yeah, we'll talk about those rumors too, MD. I will touch on that as well. I don't think did I touch on that on Monday? I can't remember if I did. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. But because there's just so much going on, guys. It's just a fast process. It's like drinking through a fire hose. There's just a lot of new information coming out on a daily basis. It's honestly hard to keep up with what's going on in a lot of circumstances, a lot of situations. But Dayne St. Clair. And here's the crazy part, too, about Dayne St. Clair is that he was offered, reportedly, The Athletic broke this news, he was reportedly offered more money to stay at Minnesota United. And he turned down that offer to go sign with Inter Miami and presumably win a CONCACAF Champions Cup, and then also maybe repeat as the MLS Cup champions, maybe try to repeat. But he turned down a bigger offer with Minnesota United. He had played with Minnesota United, and we'll pull up some of his stats. Dayne St. Clair. We got other stuff to talk about as well. Like I said, a lot of information, a lot of stuff coming out the last couple of days. But let me pull up Dayne St. Clair statistics. Okay, so Dayne St. Clair had 174 appearances for Minnesota United since 2019, and he had 135 starts for Minnesota United, the Loons, right? And he had 10 clean sheets this year. He's got 37 over his career. He had 113 saves this year. Pretty good. 79% save percentage. Really, really good. His best statistical season throughout his entire career, where he started most of the season. Obviously, he had an 80% save percentage in 2020, but he only played 13 games, so I really wouldn't consider that. But either way, he's a stalwart in the goal. Like, he is very, very, very good. And I would say that he won goalkeeper of the year. I'd say he is the best goalkeeper in Major League Soccer right now. I'd say he is the best goalkeeper in Major League Soccer right now. I mean, it's close. There's a couple other guys that could be in the contention, like Takaoka from Vancouver is up there. I think that Hugo Lloris is up there. He's really good with, obviously, LAFC. He's still a very good goalkeeper. But to get someone like Dayne St. Clair, and he's young. Like I say, he's 28 years old. This is huge. And, he turned down a chance to stay with his team, to go chase rings. He wanted to play in Inter Miami. He wanted to come to South Florida, and he wants to win some trophies. I'm not saying that this is not a shot at Minnesota United. I'm not saying they can't win trophies. Minnesota United is a very good team, but Inter Miami is just kind of that glitz and glamour team right now. And I think he wanted to play there for a lot of reasons, maybe even exposure. Now, we haven't had any information on who or how long he's going to play with Inter Miami. I don't know if it's a 1-year, 2-year deal. There's hypothetically, he could maybe play with Inter Miami for a year or two, try to get his stock up even more by playing on a team that's going to get a lot of attention and notoriety like Inter Miami. And then maybe he moves after the World Cup or after 2026 to Europe. So I don't know what his deal is. I don't think it's been announced yet how long he's signing for Inter Miami, like how long he's signing with them for. But I wouldn't be shocked if it was a temporary deal, because I think that if he plays well enough with them and then he has a good showing at the World Cup in 2026, he could have some European suitors. And I'm curious to see what you guys think. How would you rate this signing? How would you guys rate this signing 1 through 10? Dayne St. Clair, the 2025 goalkeeper of the year in Major League Soccer, signing with Inter Miami on a free transfer. What would you rate this signing 1 through 10? 1 being terrible, 10 being perfect signing, best signing you could make. You couldn't make a better signing. I'm curious what you guys think. But also, too, we saw the writing on the wall with Inter Miami. We saw that Rocco Rios Novo, Rocco Sock'em Block'em, right? We saw that he was going to move on. He wasn't going to be with Inter Miami in 2026. They had moved off of him. They declined to activate his purchase option. So that's 1 goalkeeper gone. William Yarbrough, the 3rd string goalkeeper, they declined his option. So he's gone. So the only goalkeeper they had on the roster was Oscar Ustari. Now, Oscar Ustari, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets bought out. And I'll read some of your guys' your ratings here in just a second. Yeah, it is confirmed. It is definitely confirmed. But Oscar Ustari, he showed a lot of vulnerability down the stretch of the season. That he couldn't be the goalkeeper. Rock'em Sock'em Block'em, Rocco Rios Novo couldn't be the goalkeeper. And I talked to my friend, all my Inter Miami friends I talked to about this. He's a good goalkeeper in certain situations, but he can't be your goalkeeper for 45, 50 matches. He just can't be your goalkeeper for that many matches. He's just not that quality to do that. So they had to go get a true number 1. That's what they did. And let's see. Let's read some of these. These ratings here. 8 from Sliced Bread. Miami King says 8. Emmanuel says 10 out of 10. Dark Reaper says 10. Let's see. Daniel says 10. Fisher Mark says 10. Good, 9 out of 10. Suck says 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. Jorge Moss is cooking. He actually followed me back today, which is pretty cool. That's very cool that Jorge Moss followed me back on Twitter today. Let's see. Adventures of Dawn says 9, both for Dane himself and for Miami. Suhan says, dude, this is a 10 out of 10, hands down. Amy says 10. George says 7. Mr. says 9 out of 10. 10. There's a lot of people. A lot of people agree that I've seen mostly 8, 9 out of 10, nothing lower than that. Well, there's 1 7. I'd give this a 10 out of 10 as well. Best goalkeeper in the league, 28 years old, free transfer. That is the ideal situation to get somebody on. You would want a goalkeeper. I mean, getting a player of this quality on a free transfer is very, very rare in a lot of leagues, right? Most of the time a player of quality is going to demand a salary or a transfer fee, excuse me. So getting the best goalkeeper in the league on a free transfer is unheard of. It's unheard of. So I think that could you imagine if a team in Europe had gotten Manuel Neuer on a free transfer when he in his prime from Bayern? Now, I'm not saying that Dayne St. Clair is of that ilk or he's that good, but I'm just comparing like best goalkeeper of that league moving to a team on a free transfer. It's like one of the best things. I remember when Giorgio Chiellini said, it was Buffon. It was Buffon. I remember Buffon said that when Andrea Pirlo left Milan and he went to Juve on a free transfer, he said it was the best transfer in history and they got him for free. He says the biggest deal in soccer history. I mean, getting someone of high quality who's good on a free transfer is just, it's a chef's kiss. That's what you would want. That's what you'd want. Yeah, he is good. He's really good. I'm trying to find this tweet about, okay, here we go. Because this was the rumored goalkeeper that they were interested in a couple days ago, right? Now, this is a friend, Inter Miami News Hub. He says, breaking, Inter Miami are negotiating with Guido Herrera. The club has already agreed to personal terms with the goalkeeper, while Talleres are demanding over $2 million for the transfer. Now, the problem with this is that for $2 million transfer, he was probably going to be making close to $1 million a year. Depending on how long his deal would be, he could have been a DP. They weren't willing to do that. Inter Miami weren't willing to do that. So that kind of made this thing a little bit difficult to do. And so they shifted their attention to Dayne St. Clair, offer him an opportunity, get him to come over to Inter Miami. Now, some people have been asking, is this going to be difficult for him because he, I don't think he speaks Spanish, but obviously speaking Spanish with this team, the entire back line outside of no Alan and Frey don't speak Spanish, but preferably most of the team does speak Spanish. Having someone in the back that can speak Spanish would make things a little bit more smooth, right? I don't think that Dayne St. Clair does, but it doesn't matter. I don't care about that. I just think that you get the best player you possibly can be, no matter what language they speak or where they're from. So there were some people, that were kind of curious about that, but I don't think that really matters, honestly. I just think getting a goalkeeper of this quality on a free transfer is an absolute 10 out of 10. Could not ask for a better signing. So Inter Miami is absolutely killing it so far. This is what you want to see for a team that's trying to compete for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. We got 148 people with us live right now. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. This was a last-minute emergency live stream. Make sure you guys smash the like button if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 100 likes on the stream. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are 480 subscribers away from 12,000. We're trying to hit that in 2 weeks. And I think we could do it with your guys' help, because there's going to be much more transfer news we're going to cover. And we're going to do it extensively. If there's anything big, anything relevant, I'm your guy to cover it. Biggest MLS channel. Always got you guys when it comes to MLS news. Okay, so let's move on. Inter Miami signed Dayne St. Clair. Huge signing. Let's move on to the next piece of news. Now, this guy was also rumored to be possibly signing with Inter Miami a couple days ago. But it looks like, of course, there's actually a tweet that Fabrizio had posted. It's really funny. I have to read it to you. But it looks like Chicago's in the market for a striker, and it's going to be Robert Lewandowski. Now, if you follow Chicago, they do have a striker right now, Hugo Kuipers, the Belgian international, who's very good, especially for Major League Soccer. But they want a name, right? They want someone who can get fans to the stadium. They want some appeal, name appeal. And Robert Lewandowski might be the best striker of his generation, right? It's debatable. He's up there. Maybe one of the most efficient strikers. It's very close. There's a lot of good strikers of his generation, but Chicago Fire have his discovery rights. Now, if you watch or cover or keep up with MLS, you guys know about the infamous discovery rights, right? It's essentially dibs. No one discovered Robert Lewandowski in Major League Soccer. Everybody knows who he is, right? So it's just silly to say out loud, but it's essentially dibs, right? It's just a chance to be able to, and Cringe says, hit the like button. Yeah, Cringe, I appreciate it, my friend. I do appreciate it, and I'm glad you were able to join us. But yeah, it's just silly to say discovery rights when you think about it. It's not discovery rights. Nobody discovered him. He was discovered a long, long time ago. Mr. Mister says, did I not say that months ago Lewandowski just feels like a Chicago guy? Well, I do think they have a huge Polish community in Chicago. They had the one Polish striker, or Polish player, from 98. I forgot who it was, but it was a little bit before my time. But they had a big Polish player back then as well. So they're just kind of, it would make sense to sign someone like him, especially with a community like that in Chicago. If Greg Beerholder pulls this off, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he knows who Greg Berhalter even is. But this is what it said. Chicago Fire have held positive talks with Barcelona striker Robert Lewandowski over a move to Major League Soccer. Poland's record scorer is out of contract at Camp Nou at Barcelona at the end of the season, and the Fire want to sign the 37-year-old next summer. Sources have told BBC Sports Lewandowski is open to the move and his wages are not expected to be an issue. And I think Robert Lewandowski's making 30 million euros right now in Barcelona, something like that. I know his wage bill is pretty crazy at Barcelona right now. He still has other options, including staying at Barcelona and joining the Saudi Pro League, but an MLS switch is a strong possibility. Now, listen, Robert Lewandowski does not scream Saudi League player to me. I think he wants to come to MLS. I think he's going to take the Thomas Muller route, and I think he would come to Major League Soccer. I do question his if his quality of play is going to be sustainable. What's his longevity? Does he have any longevity? I don't know what he has left in the tank. That's what scares me about signing a 38-year-old striker, because he will be 38 or very close to 38 when he comes over here. And yeah, I am referring to Novak. Yes, exactly. That's who I was thinking of. I do think that I do think that it's risky when you sign a 38-year-old. He would be the oldest player that signed MLS in a long time. None of these big name players have been 38 that have signed here more recently. The last 38-year-old player that I can remember that came over to Major League Soccer when they were 38 years old. Oh man, I don't even know. Chiellini, I think. Giorgio Chiellini is probably the last player I can remember that came over at 38 years old. And he really wasn't here much longer. Like, I think maybe I think he was over here for 2 year, a year and a half. He was here in 2022, the 1/3 of the season left, and then 2023. So he really wasn't here much longer. So it's just really hard, and especially when you're talking about a striker, right? He's still been very good at Barcelona. I mean, he's got 70 goals, I think, in like 90 appearances, something like that with Barcelona. So he's been very effective still. I just don't think that that's really the route I would go. Now, they also wanted to try to sign Neymar and Kevin De Bruyne. They weren't able to sign either one of those guys either. So they've shifted their attention to Robert Lewandowski. And this would have been a good signing if it was 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago. But right now, I just don't think this is the right move. I just don't think that this is the right move, and I personally wouldn't sign him if I was Chicago, unless he's not a DP. Now, if he's not a DP, I'm all in. If he's a DP, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because I just think that there's too much investment into a player of that age who you just don't know if they're going to hold up. So we'll see what happens with that. And there was rumors going around saying that Inter Miami were interested in signing Robert Lewandowski. And I knew that that was BS because they've already got an old striker. They don't need another old striker. They've already got Luis Suarez, right? They don't need another guy who's 38 plus to play striker. I think we're seeing a new era where they're signing young players who are the best at their best when they play for Inter Miami or close to their best. They have a lot of left in the tank. And they did announce that they re-signed Luis Suarez today. And I saw this funny post real quick. I want to read this to you guys. It's actually really funny it was just funny to read it out loud. Fabrizio had shared this earlier. Let me try to find this real quick. I thought it was so funny just reading it out loud. Okay, this is what he said. He said Timo Werner could end up in MLS in January with clubs interested in the German striker. But among those clubs, no talks taking place with Inter Miami as their priority is a new deal for Luis Suarez. I mean, it just sounds so funny to read out loud because it's like Timo Werner obviously hasn't been good in like 6 years. But it's also funny because it's like your priority is Luis Suarez, La Tortuga. I mean, the guy's been washed for a year now. He has no knees at any point. He has no knees at this point. It just sounds so funny to read that. Yeah, we don't want Timo Werner. We want Luis Suarez back, 39 years old. And so I thought that was really funny because it's like, that's just crazy that you would prioritize either one of these guys at this point. So just absolutely crazy. Also want to touch on this too. This is another big transfer to touch on DC United. They made a transfer for Tai Baribo from Philadelphia. Tai Baribo had 18 goals last year for the Union. I'm very surprised that they would let him go. Now, I know they signed the Uruguayan striker. His name's slipping my mind right now, but he was good. I don't really understand why the Philadelphia Union are kind of selling off some of their better players. They traded away Jacob Glesnes earlier this week to the Galaxy. They are getting rid of their leading scorer. They traded away Daniel Gazdak last year, 2024. Maybe it was the beginning of 2025. Seems like they're getting rid of a lot of their best players. I'm not really sure why they would do that, but they did sell him to DC United for $4.6 million. So DC United made a big swing on Wednesday after acquiring the 2025 MLS All-Star striker Tai Baribo, the Israeli international from the Philadelphia Union. In exchange for the 27-year-old, they received $4 million guaranteed. They could get another $600K if certain performance incentives are reached. Baribo has signed a 5-year DP deal with DC through 2029 and 2030, because that's when we're going to go to the European calendar. Love to read that out loud, by the way, to see 20. That's a whole season right there. It's not 2 seasons anymore. That's one season, 2029, 2030. So that's beautiful to read out loud. So they get him. and he's replacing Christian Benteke. Now, Christian Benteke was the Golden Boot winner in MLS in 2024. He had 24 goals, and he didn't have a great season last year, but it's because DC United were abysmal. They were just a terrible, terrible team. And so this is a good signing. We'll see. I don't really have a lot of faith in DC United, but this is a good trade. Or transfer. It still feels weird to say transfer in MLS because they do trades and not transfers, but they do have a transfer mechanism now. So it just feels weird to read a transfer in Major League Soccer in the league. They don't really have inter-league transfers like that. So it's always weird to read that. But I think this is a good signing. He's good. He's 18 goals. Like I said, he was their best player in a lot of times last year, in my opinion. I think they're going to miss him. And DC United, I mean, I think they definitely won this trade. And he is a DP quality player, I would say, in MLS. I don't think that Philadelphia would have ever made him a DP. But for DC United, a team that's trying to get back on track, I think this is a good move. I think this is a solid signing. I don't know how you guys would feel about this signing, like 1 through 10. But Tai Baribo, I think that he could help DC United push for a playoff spot. I don't know if he's going to score 18 goals again next year, but I think he could score, maybe 15. I think he could get close to it. I just don't know what his service is going to be. That was the downfall for Christian Benteke in 2025. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what he does. Green says, I think MLS is a great league for strong 38-year-old number 10 with good passing, great playing-making ability. Physicality is key for MLS. No old legs up top or in the back. That's true. He also says Philadelphia is cooked. Mr. says, with Werner, watch out for the New York Red Bulls. I do think New York is a possibility, but I think that ship may have sailed because they didn't sign him. They didn't sign him last year, and there had been all those rumors. So maybe that ship has sailed. I don't know. But that is a team to keep an eye on for. Timo Werner. But they also did mention that San Jose is a team to watch out too. They lost Joseph Martinez. I think Chicho Arango might be leaving too. So we'll see. Maybe Timo Werner will go to San Jose and play with Bruce Arena. So we got one more thing to touch on before we leave, unless you guys can think of anything else. I don't remember anything at this moment. Also, too, guys, we have 150 of you guys watching right now. Make sure you guys smash the like button if you haven't already. 36 likes. We're trying to get to 100 on this stream. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, 480 subscribers away from 12,000. We're getting closer and closer. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so last piece of news. This was shared by LAFC Daniel. Now, this is a reported transfer. I don't know. It's not official yet, but it's something interesting because it has to do with LAFC and some of the question marks and concerning things that have went on with them this offseason. So they reportedly signed this player named Amen Boudry, and he will be a U22 player. I think it was reported, that he was going to be cost $1.8 million or something like that. Either way, so LAFC are going to go with the 2DP 4U22 model. And when you do that, you get an extra $2 million in GAM. Now, I know some of you guys are very casual MLS watchers, and you're probably thinking, what the hell's a DP? What's a U22? What is GAM, right? It's just these make-believe rules that Major League Soccer has, intricacies of the league that just really, really make things difficult. Rumors about Koke to Miami. Yeah, I'll talk about that as well. But so LAFC really, I don't understand what their game plan is. They have a DP spot open, and they're going to use it on a U22 instead. I thought with them having Son Heung-min, they were going to try to make as much of a push for the MLS Cup as they possibly could. But they're using this cheap, uninspiring route instead of signing a third DP. And then they hired Mark Dos Santos, who, if you follow me on X, you know how I feel about him. He's a bum manager. I don't like him. I think he's a very lazy small club hire. I don't really know what LAFC are doing. I don't expect them to really probably push for MLS Cup at this moment based on what they're doing right now. I don't know what their game plan is. This is just very disappointing to see a team that has been so good the last couple of years, or at least they've been good since they've been in MLS. It's sad to see them kind of regress or try to take a different path. Now, they did spend a lot of money to sign Son Heung-min, but everything else is just it's like they're relying solely on him and letting everything else kind of fall into place, which I just don't think is a good. They're trying to cheap out in other positions. team has a lot of issues, and I'm really upset that they let go of Morin, excuse me, Morin. I always get his name wrong, but they let him go, and he went back to the EPL, and I think he was on loan from the EPL. Maybe it was a championship team. Either way, they didn't utilize him. They let him walk back to his club. They did not buy him. He would have been a good U22 signing. So I'm disappointed in LAFC. I think they're doing things the wrong way. We'll see what happens. But they're not off to a good start. Inter Miami's definitely off to the best start, I would say, so far in this offseason. Now, rumors about Koke to Miami. Let me pull this up real quick because that way we can see these rumors that people have been talking about with Inter Miami. Inter Miami, like I said, they've been on fire lately. They have been red hot with all the information, with all the rumors, signings. They just been in the spotlight the last week, 2 weeks, especially. Hell, maybe it's been longer if you consider the playoff run that they've had. So let's see. And this was let me try to pronounce it. So Ekram, this guy's name is Ekram. He reported this. Rumor: Lionel Messi is pushing Inter Miami to sign Atletico Madrid captain Koke in 2026 to replace the retired Sergio Busquets in midfield. They're also eyeing French legend Antoine Griezmann up top. Koke enters the final 6 months of his contract soon, could be a free agent. And more, via Ekram. Okay. So this doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because they only have one DP spot open, and they used one of their DP spots to fill with Rodrigo de Paul when they activate his purchase clause. So him and Messi are the two DPs right now, Rodrigo de Paul and Lionel Messi. I think they got to use their DP spot on a striker, a younger striker, someone between 25 and 30 years old. It sounds funny to say 30 years old is younger, but when you look at the team and their age in general, 30 is young. 30 is young for this team. So I think they need to use their DP spot on a striker, not a midfielder who will be 34 years old. 34 years old in the summer. They need to sign someone a little bit younger. So I'm not really buying this. And Antoine Griezmann, maybe that's a little bit more believable, but I still don't even know if I believe that. I don't know if their focus is going to be on Antoine Griezmann. I think they're going to go a different route. Now, did any of us ever predict they were going to be able to sign Rodrigo de Paul? That kind of came out of nowhere, right? We were just kind of minding our own business this summer, and then it said, hey, Inter Miami interested in Rodrigo de Paul. Then it said Inter Miami in negotiations, Rodrigo de Paul. Then they signed him. Like, it just kind of progressed so quickly, kind of came out of thin air. So I don't really think that this is going to be the route. I think Inter Miami kind of moves in a different way where the people that they sign, it kind of comes out of nowhere. Most of the people they're rumored with, a lot of the times it doesn't even go out. Look at the Guido Herrera signing. It didn't happen. Went with Dayne St. Clair. Robert Lewandowski was rumored a couple days ago. That doesn't seem like that's going to happen either. So it's something to monitor. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. I could be wrong. Well, I mean, it's going to be an interesting summer. Now, I do think there's a possibility that Inter Miami don't use their DP spot this winter, and they do wait until the summer to see who becomes available and who they can sign. But honestly, I don't think you need to really sign a big name player. You got the biggest name on the planet, and I don't really think that any other person's going to make this team any more popular than it already is. The thing that's going to make this team more popular is winning games. So they just need to put the best product on the field, and they have the star who can give them the appeal and the name recognition across the globe, right? So I don't think that they really need to do that. We'll see what happens, though. Like I said, I could be wrong. Okay, he could be an Inter Miami player this summer. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times before. Mr. says until Fabrizio or Dave Ornstein reports it, it's always reports. I'm always skeptical. No, that's true too. That is true too. Would you consider Hugo Kuipers not a DP then? No, he is a DP. Yeah, he's definitely a DP. They paid his transfer fee was so big that he was a DP. I think they paid like $11-12 million for him. Chicago Fire did. So yeah, he's definitely a DP. He is 100% a DP. I was thinking the summer too, but their ambition towards the Champions Cup makes me think otherwise. And that's another thing too. That's another important point. I mean, they're trying to maximize their opportunity this summer for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Like, it's going to be, the final would be in June. So they have to put the best possible team. DP is important. You know, that's a game-changing position or game-changing slot. I think they need to fill it if they want to win MLS or win the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So we'll see. This is very, very early in the offseason, guys. I mean, you can't really even sign guys on transfers until January 1st. So we still have a couple weeks before this thing officially opens up. So we'll see what happens. I thought we would go on live today just because there's so much going on. And I thought this was important, relevant information. Dayne St. Clair, Robert Lewandowski, Tai Baribo, and everything else in between. Dayne St. Clair is like 6'3", so he's a big goalkeeper. Like, he's not small. He's pretty big. I think Rocco is like 5'9", 5'10". So their goalkeeper's 5-6 inches taller. He's really, really good. I encourage you guys to go watch some highlights of him if you haven't. He's very good, very athletic goalkeeper. I like him quite a bit. I think he's going to fit in nicely with Inter Miami. Inter Miami, team that won MLS Cup, just keeps getting better and better and better. So real quick before I let you guys go, I'm also going to be dropping a video tomorrow about which 5 MLS teams need to have a great offseason. 5 teams in Major League Soccer that need to have a great offseason. I'm going to drop that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I do that every year. You guys aren't going to want to miss that. 6 p.m. Eastern time. Top 5 teams that need to have a big offseason. So it's going to be a good video. Make sure you guys check it out. We're going to end it here. Guys, if you haven't already, smash the like button. Like I said, it helps us out. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are 480 subscribers away from 12,000. A lot of you guys watch, but you're not subscribed. So make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit the little bell notification so you never miss any of my new videos, these live streams, or everything else in between. I hope you guys have a great night. Hope you guys are excited about this MLS off season, because there's so much information going on right now, so many transactions, so much stuff that it's hard to even keep up with. But I got you. We will cover it extensively at MLS Moves. Hope you guys have a great night. The best is yet to come. And until next time, guys, we'll see you all soon.